Good morning, DJ and PK here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. First hour of the program is going to be hosted by me, Jake Hatch, executive producer of this fine program. And we're going to kick things off on this Black Friday with a recap of Wednesday night. Utah Mammoth having an incredible second period, but outside of that, the Montreal Canadiens really owning the action as they won the game at the Delta Center. Here's Adrian Denny with his recap of the loss for the Utah Mammoth.
DJ and PK, the Utah Mammoth went into Thanksgiving losing 4-3 in regulation to the Montreal Canadiens on Wednesday night. Mammoth now 12-9-3. They'll open a 6-game road trip tonight in Dallas. So they were going for 3 straight wins. They led going to the third period. Canadians scored a couple of quick goals in a span of 1 minute and 27 seconds to take the 4-3 win. The big news of note, though, for Utah, they have cleared Thanksgiving in a playoff spot in the Western Conference. And going back to 2005-2006 in the NHL salary cap era, 77% of NHL teams in a playoff position at Thanksgiving have gone on to make the playoffs. So they're in a playoff spot right now, big 6-game road trip coming up. And as you look back at last year, 12 of the 16 teams that were in a playoff spot at Thanksgiving made the playoffs. So 75% then. So an item of note there, as the Mammoth wanted a victory going into the holiday, did not get it. They trailed 2-0 after 20 minutes, but they'd won 2 straight, feeling pretty good. It didn't feel like a 2-0 game. They came out in the second period. Karel Vejmelka stopped a 2-on-1 rush. Mammoth drew a penalty, and Barrett Hayton got the team on the board, and the comeback was on.
Battle ensues. Sergachev comes away with it. Keller, Hayton, right in, scores! The power play wakes up here at home. Barrett Hayton finds the back of the net, and it's 2-1.
2 minutes and 15 seconds later, Kyler Yamamoto, 5-on-5, would tie it.
This is Gunther moving in. Yamamoto scores! Gunther to Yamamoto, and we're tied at 2. The Mammoth go back-to-back.
And 1 minute and 56 seconds after that, Michael Carcone would give the Mammoth 3 goals in 4 minutes and 9 seconds, and Utah had a 3-2 lead.
Back of goal, changes his direction, wraparound try, and it's in! They score! Michael Carcone muscles it in, and Utah is in front.
A big save from Karel Vejmelka to end the period sent us to the third with Utah leading. They took a penalty. Montreal looked like they scored on the power play. Utah challenged it. Play was deemed offside, no goal. Canadians stay on the power play. Nate Schmidt in the neutral zone, trying to get the puck all the way down, gets held up, no call. Montreal scores. They scored again 1 minute and 27 seconds later. 4-3 is the final, despite the fact that Utah, in that third period, outshot the Canadians by a 15-5 count and 28-10 over the final 40 minutes, which they outscored the Canadians 3-2. But the 2 goals in the first period, the difference in the game, power play, the difference in the game. Canadians go 2 for 3. Utah went 1 for 4. Pretty good percentage, 25%. You'll take that every night, but you give up 2. That is tough to swallow. Let's hear from head coach Andre Tourigny. Heard from him after the game on Wednesday night.
I think we played a good game, but unfortunately we got beat in our strength. Our PK's been our strength since the start of the season. Tonight we were not as sharp on our PK. Power play score, big goal, was important for us. It's a good team defensively, and we generate volume of shot, quality, inside game. We had a lot of traffic there. I think they scored 2 goals of their rush. That's unfortunate.
Sean Durfee gets to play his first game since the start of October, middle of October. What did you see out of his game, especially using him in key moments like the penalty kill and late in the game?
Yeah, he played good. he made a good play with the puck. He was focused. He was urgent. He did a good job. The toughest game when you come back is always the second one. The first year, all of energy and everything. So he passed the test, no doubt about it. We were happy to have him, and he did a really good job, no doubt.
You touched on the PK. Their first 5-on-4 goals allowed since exactly a month ago.
Yep.
Do you think it was more of the other team being better at this tonight, or
No.
your team not being good enough?
No, they're a good team, no doubt about it. They made good plays, and credit to them, but we were not as sharp than we normally are. It will happen. If it's once a month, we'll live with that.
The other big story for Utah in the contest on Wednesday night was Sean Durzi coming back into the lineup after missing 21 straight games. He got hurt second game of the year. Last year got hurt fourth game of the year. Missed over half the season. So big to get him back, and he played a big impact in the game for the Mammoth, and by the third period he was on the top defensive pairing with Mikhail Sergachev. Utah last summer, before their inaugural season, traded for Sergachev. The next day, signed Sean Durzi to a 4-year contract. Let's hear from him after the game on Wednesday.
This is the first game back. How did you feel out there, and what you wanted to contribute to this team?
Yeah, obviously come back. Watching the guys all year, you kind of see how they go through their ups and downs. Try to be in all the meetings you can be, but when I'm rehabbing, they're on the road and can't see it all. So come back, you try to stay the guys' ways in warm-ups, things like that. Routines change so much throughout the year. Just wanted to contribute, whether it's on the ice, off the ice, bring some energy, do something.
This game had a lot of momentum swings. Obviously, you guys were happy with that second period and the way things went, but the adversity, I guess, you handled it in the third. What can you assess and how that happened?
Yeah, I don't think we lost focus. I think, as a group, are mature enough to kind of control what we have to control. I thought we did a lot of good things. It's an emotional game. We all care so much that sometimes it's tough, but I think, again, the maturity in here never wavered, and confidence never wavered, and I thought we did a good job of kind of keeping our focus and moving on to the next.
And Barrett Hayton scored that first goal for Utah. And when Barrett Hayton is involved in a goal, he always seems to do something before the goal. Laid down a big hit as Montreal was trying to clear the puck with Utah on the power play, but forced the puck free to Sergachev, who got it to Clayton Keller, who got it to Barrett Hayton for the nice look on the 5-on-4 power play goal. And the Mammoth were off and running. Hayton's back on that top power play unit, and he's back playing with Nick Schmaltz and Clayton Keller. Heard from him after the game as well.
Just in terms of the flow and of momentum, how this team managed it, how do you assess the way that game went?
Yeah, like I said, after the second there, I thought we did a really good job in that second period. Just managing the game better. Obviously, that was something we reviewed, something we had to be better at. And, obviously, we did a really good job there in the second period. Overall game-wise, I think need a second to kind of reflect on exactly what it is. Obviously, it's frustrating right now not coming out with 2 points.
What do you want to take out of this win, though, from this group moving forward from first glance?
Probably go back to the second period, the way we managed it. I think that's something that we went through a stretch of a bunch of games that we didn't manage it well, and I think you saw that. You saw that in a lot of the outcomes in the game, or even the games, the last two, that we found a way. We dug ourselves a bit of a hole in the second period, so I think we did a good job with that tonight, but wasn't good enough.
First 5-on-4 goal in precisely a month. What's kind of been the struggles of the power play, and what was it like to finally get one?
Something, obviously, us as a group, we weren't happy with our production there. I thought we'd had a couple games where we talked and kind of got back to our foundation, what made us good in the past. Just having that attack mindset, winning battles that compete, and obviously letting our skill take over from there. So, yeah.
So we'll start the road trip coming up tonight with a back-to-back. Dallas tonight, St. Louis tomorrow, 6 p.m. face-offs for both of those games, 5 p.m. hockey night in Utah, right here on the KSL Sports Zone. Trip will continue Monday in San Jose. That'll be an 8 o'clock start. Wednesday in Anaheim, another 8 o'clock start. A week from tonight in Vancouver, a week from tomorrow in Calgary, and then back home a week from Wednesday with the LA Kings. Longest road trip of the year starting tonight for the Mammoth. We'll be back on Monday with an all-new edition of Mammoth Daily, your daily podcast where we give you 30 minutes every day from your radio broadcast team with Mike Folta and myself. We are off through the weekend, but back on Monday. Apple, Spotify, the Utah Mammoth YouTube page, along with SEG+. So make sure to join us. Our Monday morning power play will lead us off after the weekend. So hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy the rest of the day. Go Utes at Kansas coming up, and we'll talk to you on Monday morning to recap our Saturday night game in St. Louis.
Thank you, as always, to Adrian for his recap. Coming up next, we're going to talk with a guy who knows a whole lot of football, and that'd be Riley Jensen. His thoughts on the Utes, the Cougars, the Aggies, looking at the final regular season weekend of the college football season. That's next, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning, DJ and PK here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Jake Hatch, executive producer of the program. All right, time now to hear from Riley Jensen, one of our great guests that comes on all college football season long, talks all things Utes, Cougars, Aggies, and quite literally anything else. He's also a mental performance coach, and we'll also get into some of those topics as well. He joined DJ and PK on Wednesday to talk all about all of the aforementioned topics. So here you go, Riley Jensen with DJ and PK.
Riley, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Little Tina Turner to bounce back this morning. I like what Jake's trying to do here.
She was born. She was born on this day in 1939. So
I love it.
There you go.
I love it. There you go.
Riley, I'm thinking all your work, mental performance, the psychological part of sports. I think that you watched football last Saturday and you watched the BYU game, the Utah game, and the Utah State game, and you thought, those are three very healthy teams, or they couldn't have done what they did.
Yeah, I think, the Utah State game was really surprising to me. I thought the win was actually going to come this week against Boise State. I thought they were going to make it in the bowl game, to the bowl game, just because that's pretty much what Bronco does. He comes in and he turns the direction around for a team. But, man, Bryson Barnes is just an amazing football player. I think he's an amazing leader for this team. I think they've really embraced, instead of I think for a long time Utah State's kind of pushed away or pushed back on the agricultural thing. And I kind of like the way this team is just embracing it. And they're like, yeah, that's what we are. We're blue collar. We're a blue collar football team. We win games. We win them in difficult ways and in different ways, and we just roll up our sleeves and go to work. That was fun. Giving up 500 yards rushing for the University of Utah is not exactly the way that you like to exhibit or show everybody that you're mentally tough, but they were opportunistic at the end of the game. And then, God, you just have – you can't – the BYU team, they are very mentally tough, and they've done it in a variety of ways this year. And man, if you want to stop BYU, you've got to stop that running game. And they just week in and week out, they make the plays that they need to make to win. So yes, mentally tough in all three phases, with all three teams, for different reasons and in different ways, no question.
You just mentioned all three teams and did a little rundown. And what's interesting to me is put Ficklin in the mix too. So you got four quarterbacks in those three teams, right? And you look at Bryson Barnes, not recruited, walk on. Ficklin, not recruited that highly. Dampier, not recruited that highly, has to go to New Mexico. Bachmeier, recruited highly, right? So out of one of the four, only one of them was recruited highly and had the stars and all that stuff. The other three have had to make their mark. And it just amazes me, the evaluations at the quarterback position, because it seems like nobody can ever get it consistently right. A great quarterback with the stars, bombs, and I've got three guys. Ficklin, he still has a lot more to prove, but I think Dampier has proven what he can do at two different levels now. And to an extent, Barnes has proven what he can do. If they knew Rising was never going to be healthy, they probably would have kept him, and he would have wanted to stay at Utah. So he would have been doing it at the Pac-12 and now Big 12 level. How do we get a system to where it could ever be where quarterbacks are judged on their talent a little more consistently?
Well, I think so. I have a little bit of a theory on this, and that is, it's really, really hard. It's really hard for everyone in football in every position, but especially quarterback. It's hard to measure motivation, and it's hard to measure the heart. And I know this is a little bit cliche, but just bear with me for a second. If I were to line up a whole bunch of college golfers, and you were looking at all the college golfers, and they were all swinging and like warming up for a tournament, it would be really, really hard to tell which one was the best player, because they all have great swings. They all can drive the ball. They all can hit the ball well. But the one that wins the tournament has this heart and this preparation and this mental toughness that's hard to measure, right? And I think that's what's happening with quarterbacks. I mean, the theory that I have with quarterbacks is if quarterbacks get too much love too early, they become less motivated. Think about all the guys that have won Heisman trophies and have gone on in the NFL and maybe not played as well as you thought they were going to be. The quarterbacks that have played well in the NFL, and there's a couple of exceptions to this, John Elway and really Peyton Manning are the exception to this rule. But do you think that growing up in Texas that Drew Brees wanted to play for Purdue? No, he wanted to play for one of the Texas schools. Do you think Philip Rivers growing up in Alabama wanted to play for NC State? No. Do you think – I mean, I can go through – scenario after scenario after scenario where these great NFL quarterbacks were in some way slighted and overlooked. It doesn't mean that they were like completely slighted, like they didn't play Division I football, but they didn't get to play for their hometown school. They didn't get to play for the school that they dreamt of playing for. And so I think a lot of times these quarterbacks have this undeniable will or this undeniable want to show that they're the best quarterback, number one, on the field that day, and number two, the best quarterback in their conference, and then number three, best quarterback in the country, and then eventually that transfers over to like really, really long careers in the NFL. And so I almost think that these quarterbacks that get overlooked a little bit or slighted, I mean, even Tom Brady was constantly like creating these scenarios where he felt slighted or where he felt angry about things. And I think that's what these quarterbacks do, and I think that's why they're really, really good, is because they still have something to prove.
So you don't think Aaron Rodgers wanted to go to a junior college?
No, I don't.
Okay. I'm just trying to catch on here to your point. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can go down list after list after list of quarterbacks. I mean, Tom Brady, I think everybody said he wanted to play for USC or something like that, right? Like, there's just you can go down the list of quarterbacks, and I mean, look at Baker Mayfield. I mean, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the state of Texas. Walks on to Texas Tech, wins the spot, and then the next year they're like, "Yeah, you're going to have to compete for the spot." And he's like, "Well, forget that. I'm going to Oklahoma." And then he's been, even in the NFL, he's been kind of left for dead a couple of times. And now you look at him and you're like, geez, dude, this guy is really good. I mean, you could take a local example. Jackson Dart signed with USC, and for all intents and purposes, that was like the dream school where he wanted to play. A new coach comes in with his quarterback. It's not really going to be a fair competition. Even if he won the competition, he would have had a short rope. He goes to Ole Miss, which is not necessarily probably his first choice or even like on his radar coming out of high school. And now he's competing on the NFL level, right? I mean,
And Joe Burrow says that story sounds familiar to me.
Right?
Ohio guy wanted to go to Ohio State, didn't win the job, transferred to LSU, went 15-0.
And is now a big-time quarterback in the NFL. So these stories where they stay a little bit hungry is kind of good for them. I can go through other positions too. I've gone through on the quarterback position over and over and over again just because that's near and dear to my heart. But there's other positions too where this happens all the time. Too many awards too early seems to make people a little bit too happy and a little bit too content.
That's why, Riley R. Jensen, I have never wanted or earned or won an award because it's kept me hungry all these years. Each morning I wake up angry, my good friend.
Well, I would say that you could play for BYU because they're humble and hungry, but the humble part, I don't know. I can see that you're hungry.
Humble? I would have to go an extra 20 miles just to have any form of humility because I've been stripped of most of my dignity all these years. That's the way you have to approach it.
It's
you just did it right there again.
It's hard work to be Patrick Kinahan. What I like what you're doing is you're continually like motivating yourself. You're like the Tom Brady of sports radio in Utah. That's what you are. Constantly creating scenarios where you're angry.
He's got to do that because he got to settle here in beautiful Salt Lake. It's not like he's Josh Allen. He had to go to Laramie, Wyoming, right?
I started in Casa Grande, Arizona, David James Sniggledorf III. Have you ever been to Casa Grande, Arizona? Ask some of your soccer boys. They've been there.
They have been
That's
there.
the bottom of the barrel. They have no dentists in the town. You know why? Well, figure it out.
I can tell you.
Summer teeth? Some are here, some are there.
Oh, nice. Wow, I hadn't heard that one before. When they built that new academy in Harriman, and they're all out there for that. They took some players out there for the groundbreaking, and I saw Justin Glad, who went through the academy when it was in Casa Grande. They said, "Is every player from this point forward going to be soft?" And he just laughed maniacally. Absolutely. If you don't know Casa Grande, you don't know toughness.
Yeah, and I know Casa Grande. I've been to Casa Grande. Casa Grande is a friend of mine.
Yeah, well, you and Justin can bond over that because that was he wore that as a badge of honor, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. So let me throw this at you, Riley R. Jensen. If that same form of motivation that you're using with that philosophy and that alignment, how much do you think that can carry the Cougars next week when they go down to Arlington, Texas, and play Texas Tech, which embarrassed them on national television on the heels of Fox Big Noon and all that stuff?
Well, so there's two things like psychologically that I think bode well for BYU. Whether it's the NFL or any level of football, I mean, you can go all the way down like Little League here in the state of Utah. To beat a team twice in one season is really, really difficult to do for a myriad of reasons. I think BYU will be super motivated. I think their running back is much more healthy at this point than he was in the first Texas Tech game. I think that BYU will know what to expect. I'm not sure that translates to a win because I think Texas Tech is just a really, really good football team. I can almost give you the Riley Jensen guarantee that comes with a warranty that this game is going to be a lot closer. And I think BYU has will have all kinds of chances to win this game. I think the last game, the hard part is it got out of control, and so it didn't. In your head, you're not going, man, if we just would have made this play or that play, we could have won that game. I think this next game could be something like that, and so that's the type of a game where BYU has played opportunistic football. When they've had a chance to win, they're pretty good. The only game that they haven't really had a chance to win is this Texas Tech game, and I think they'll be in the game this time. I can't guarantee a win, but I guarantee you it's going to be a lot closer.
I'm watching the game playing that's going on with substitutions the offense substitutes and then the defense. They got to do it early because otherwise the defense takes their time and tries to get a delay of game. And I watch it going back and forth. And I think what the Utes did in the Sugar Bowl where they basically went they didn't sub and they went now it's tempo. It used to be the 2-minute drill. It used to be no huddle, whatever you call it. But they didn't give them time, and the defenses got gassed. Now, there's a risk. You go 3 and out, and your defense is gassed because they're right back out there on the field. But we're not seeing much of that tactic. Why have coaches dropped that from their bag? Is it the fact they're afraid of putting the defense back out there very quickly? Because, we've seen it work. We've seen it work in a game we're never going to forget. And now we're seeing all these other game playing happen in multiple games. It's been a problem for multiple teams. And I wonder why somebody doesn't do it.
Well, I think with BYU, one of the reasons why the quarterback position's playing so good is that Aaron Roderick can talk to him until there's 15 seconds on the clock. Mm-hmm. And so that's a little bit of a different scenario going on with Bachmeier. One of the reasons he's so good is because Aaron can talk to him and say, hey, look, we're going to run this play or this play. Look for this check. He's literally like in his head, like talking to him about things. But even when the Utes did it against Alabama, that was a senior quarterback that you had a lot of trust with to be able to run an up-tempo or, this high-speed offense. Now, what I would say that you could do, and what I would say is a nice mix-up, is I like teams right now that will mix it up during a series, or one of the things that I do just with my Little League football team is we'll come out and we'll say, okay, so on second down, we're going full speed, meaning one play per 4 downs. Every time it's second down, we're going what we call NASCAR, which is to speed it up. So then what you're doing is you're not just throwing all fastballs at someone. You're throwing a fastball, then a curveball, then you're throwing a slider, then you're throwing a fastball. And I think that keeps defenses really, really off balance. And so I would look for some version of that, not necessarily just go, 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 like Brian Johnson did in the University of Utah. And that was an amazing game. I was actually at that game and just shaking my head and watching everybody with their Bama bangs shake their head back and forth. And they just could not believe what happened to them. And but I like the idea that you're talking about. I think the whole thing, and the reason why you haven't seen it, sorry, this is a long answer, is because the ability to talk to your quarterback is so tempting for an offensive coordinator right now. And I think Aaron Roderick had to do it with Bachmeier to keep him sharp and to keep him in the game. But I like the idea. I just think it's so tempting right now as an offensive coordinator to just keep talking to your quarterback up till 15 seconds.
Okay, yeah. Especially if he can handle it, though. He has to be able to handle it, right?
Yeah, I think at this point he's no longer a freshman. Now you're talking about a sophomore quarterback, and I think he can handle more and more, and I think you're going to have a minute to prepare for Texas Tech, and that might be something that they do. I don't know that they do the full University of Utah version, but like I said, they could do something where they're just all right, so in the first quarter, every time it's second down, we're going to go NASCAR, right? Or we're going to do it every first down in the second quarter type of thing. And then it keeps people off balance. It doesn't allow them to sub and bring in, 3 new defensive linemen every second. And that's where they're so good is not just the fact that they're good at D-line, but they're deep at defensive line.
Sure.
Riley, we'll leave it right there. Good luck to your Aggies beating Boise State. 9 straight losses. The streak could be snapped. Well, it could happen. Feels like it could definitely happen.
I think it definitely could happen. I think Maddox Madsen, the local quarterback, is out.
Yeah.
And that's that's good news for Utah State. So a local Utah guy contributing to Utah State wins is always a good thing for me.
Big thank you, Riley Jensen, for taking the time to join the program. As always, coming up next, you're going to hear from Barry Trammell, obviously another one of our great guests, works for the Tulsa World, has been covering the Big 12 for literally decades, has just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the weekend ahead, when it comes to the college football playoff race, what the Big 12 needs to do, how BYU's perceived. We'll get to that next right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning, DJ and PK here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The BYU Cougars have two big games coming up this weekend. Obviously, a big game yesterday. The BYU men's basketball program beat the Miami Hurricanes down in Orlando, taking on the Hurricanes as part of ESPN Events Invitational at the Wide World of Sports Complex at Walt Disney World. Big win for Kevin Young and company. They got Kennard Davis Jr. back from a 2-game suspension and rolled to a big win. They'll take on the Dayton Flyers tonight. So here's part of what they had to say, speaking of Kevin Young, AJ DeBonsa, as well as Keba Keita after BYU won that game against Miami.
Yeah, no, great question. That's the fun part of coaching, to be able to study the film, see how you think they're going to guard you. I thought, tonight, obviously we started to post up AJ a little bit more, and they were, we were trying to figure out where the double team was coming from, and I thought we had a lot of good offense based on that. So really, for us, it really kind of shows its head in three areas. How they guarding him in the post, how they guarding our pick and rolls, and are they going to kind of guard the three-point line or be more of a paint-centric team? And so tonight, I thought our guys did a good job of recognizing where all the help was coming from.
Kevin, what were the biggest adjustments made in the second half?
Coach Linehan made the comment at halftime. We're in there watching the film at halftime as a staff and talking about adjustments, and it really wasn't a schematic thing. It was, our demeanor wasn't great in the first half. I thought our guys were a little bit glazed over, honestly, and so I thought our demeanor in the second half was the biggest adjustment. It was a toughness game. We knew it was going to be. Coach Lucas has put together a really physical team, and they, we ended up going +6 on the glass in the second half. In the first half, that was where we were hurting, and then obviously what Keba did defensively was, incredible.
Go ahead. Coach, first of all, happy Thanksgiving and congratulations on the win. It seems like wherever you guys come to Florida, whether that be football, basketball, the athletics department in general, it seems like you guys get a really good turnout. How did it feel to get a win with such turnout like this one?
Yeah, it was amazing. I think it's something that's really unique about BYU, and we have fans, planted all over the place, and our fans travel, and so to see that much blue, especially on a holiday, it was really cool. And I know for me, I never take it for granted. I know our guys feed off of it, and it just gives us kind of an extra boost. And happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Thank you.
Coach, Miami, they're a team that they're still trying to find that identity, obviously, year one with Coach Lucas. Going into the game, what were some of the things that you saw on the scout? And then coming out of tonight, what's like your message after seeing them point blank in person and playing against them?
I think they have a clear identity. They're big and they're physical and they want to get downhill. I think they coming into the game, I think they had the second most paint points in college basketball, so I would say that's a pretty strong identity. Thought they played to it tonight. We were trying to make them beat us from the outside. I thought the zone really slowed them down. But in terms of their team, that's where their bread is buttered and being physical on the glass as well. And Coach Lucas is a good coach. Staying in the same hotel, got a chance to talk to him, and he's, first-year head coach, learning on the fly. But they're going to be good. I told him after the game, I think they're going to have a really good season.
There's the BYU basketball program, also the BYU football program looking to finish their season in style on Senior Day tomorrow as they take on the UCF Knights. Offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick addressed the media earlier this week, had a lot of good thoughts on coming off a win last week and ultimately looking to finish off the season 11-1. Here's part of what Aaron Roderick had to say to the media earlier this week.
Would you make LJ's just record-setting performance, just one of the best single individual rushing efforts in quite a while?
Yeah, it's pretty special night. That was not the game plan for him to run the ball 32 times. The game plan was about 20 carries, and But as the game progressed, it just felt like, okay, he's hot, and our O-line is pushing these guys around, our tight ends and our receivers, everybody was into it, and we just kind of shifted gears and said, okay, we're going to pound the ball and break their will, and that's what we decided to do. And but it was mostly just LJ, I think, inspired everybody, like, keep giving me the ball because I'm going to make yards, and so that's what we did.
On that final TD run, was the thought get down and run up the clock, or were you okay just him punching?
Yeah, we didn't tell him to get down. I mean, technically, if you go by the analytics book, you probably should, but we were trying to calculate whether or not we could get in victory or not, and it was off by a few seconds. And as we were calculating that, we're snapping the ball, and we were going to tell the next play, like, hey, first down, get down. But that would have been the next play that would have happened. And so, he scored, and it was just a great effort by him, and I think it was a fitting way to end the game.
Where does he stack up? Just the running backs you've been able to coach here. It reminds that game felt like Tyler Algier.
Yeah, it did.
Look at it.
It did. I've been very reluctant to compare anybody to Tyler, but that was a night that I think you could say that was Tyler-esque for sure. Algier was a great player, and LJ's a great player. They're different players, but I think you can say that they're both a couple of the great ones that have played here.
Back to the offensive line real quick. Have you ever seen them play that well to date? I mean, it looked like the defensive line was 2-3 yards back almost every play.
I think our offensive line's been consistent all year. They execute at a high level, but that night, thought the guys played really, really physical, executed well against a unique defense, and I think the momentum was building as the game went on. Even though it wasn't a flashy game score-wise, but our team could feel a momentum building as we were pushing those guys around, and that was a pretty good feeling. That starts with those guys up front.
And when they do that, how does that affect your play calling?
Well, like I said, that wasn't the plan to run the ball to give LJ 32 carries. It just turned into that type of game. So yeah, I guess you could say they inspired me to just keep giving them the ball.
Do you think your offense is equipped to play well in bad weather?
Yeah, I do. And in fact, that's one thing that we talk about a lot as an offense is that we want to be an offense that can win any type of game. And I keep saying that over and over. And there's been games this year where we've needed to throw for 300 yards to win, and there's been games this year like Arizona and Cincinnati where we just decide to be physical and run the ball. And most games we want to be balanced, just a good mix of either. And I think our style of play works in cold weather, and it works in whatever. We'll be ready to play.
I guess we'll find out tomorrow night about Chase's condition, but do you want to give us a hint?
We're trying to. I don't know if he's going to be ready or not. We're trying to get him ready, but he's definitely. I don't know what they listed him as, what the word was, questionable or doubtful or whatever. But I think there's still a chance, but I'm not. Not my decision.
If he can't go, who do you think some of the guys are going to get those plays?
Parker, LJ, Parker and JoJo are the two main guys that kind of take up the slack there for his reps. And then, Tiger just played a little more last game. You saw Reggie in there a little more last game. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but the guys will step up if he can't go.
How important has Carson Ryan been to the run game?
Very. He's a very good blocker, good player, man. He's does everything well. He's a good receiver, good blocker, and huge part of our run game for sure. Kean needs a big part of our run game as well. He's been doing a good job. And our running backs, we were in a lot of two-back sets the other night where Enoch's blocking for LJ or vice versa. So yeah, it's an 11-man deal every play. That everyone on the field is a blocker.
Still a lot left to be played for in the season, but just talk about how Parker's elevated his status. Looks like he's on track to be a future wide receiver one.
Yeah, Parker's a really good player, and I am not surprised at all by the season he's having. That's what I expected him to do, and he's just basically proven me right. I didn't say it out loud to the world, but I've been saying it to him, that you're going to have this kind of year the whole offseason, and he's a really important part of our offense.
It seemed to me that the wide receivers blocked real well.
They did.
Watching tape, is that what you saw?
Yeah, and that's been a hallmark of our group forever since I've been here. Fessy gets those guys to block, and they've been blocking forever, back to the days of Neil Pa'u and Puka and those guys, and Dax Mill and all those guys were good blockers, and these guys still are today. And the other night, a couple of those big runs, our receivers are getting in there, hitting the safeties right when LJ is about to get to the next level, and those are a big part of the game.
So you're a finalist for the Broyles Award for a coordinator of the year.
Yeah, I just found out about that 5 minutes ago. Yeah, thanks.
What does that mean to you? Is that something you even are aspire to, or just?
Usually I think those. It's not something I aspire to, no, and I don't. I think sometimes those awards go to maybe offenses that are more flashy or whatever, and I'm just about winning games. I just win a game any way we got to win it, and I am honored to hear about that, but to me it's more just a recognition that our offense is playing good football. It's a credit to our players and our other coaches who are doing what it takes to win.
And then we've heard Kalani talk a lot about just winning, not worried about style points, and impressing the committee. Would you say that's pretty staff-wide? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're not trying to have style points. It's just that that's not the number one thing. The number one thing is to win the game, and we control our own destiny. If we win, then we'll be where we want to be, and that's all we're thinking about.
On that note, how impressive have you been this year with the guys' just ability to stay focused on each and every week? Not that they weren't last year, but you guys have been doing what you need to do every week to be in a position to control your destiny.
Yeah, so far so good. That's the key, is learning lessons from last year. Last year we had I think it was 9 in a row, and then we dropped 2, right? And learning from those mistakes this year, we lost 1, and then we bounced back with 2 strong games, and now it's finished the deal. We have a team that's going to come in here Saturday looking to get bowl eligible. They play really good defense, and so all of our focus is on UCF.
What would that mean for this group to finally clinch that Big 12 title berth you guys been working towards?
Well, yeah, that'd be huge, but like I said, this game is what gets you there. You have to win this game, and we respect this team a lot. They played really well last Saturday, and they have a really good defense.
There's Aaron Roderick coming up next here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We run the sports world. We look around at what's going on across the sports universe. It's what is trending. DJ and PK rejoin the program coming up next right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know. News update.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
The National Football League did not disappoint. How about those 3 games Thursday? Really impressive by Jordan Love. 4 touchdowns, no picks. Packers get out in front of the Lions, and the Lions are just chasing the game. And the Lions they're a good team. They're 7-5, but they're in a hole right now. They are in trouble. And the Packers, meanwhile, may have just vaulted themselves to the top of the division. We got a game today, the Amazon Black Friday game, with the Eagles and the Bears, a couple 8-3 teams. And if the Eagles win that game, and I suspect they will, the Bears are 8-3, but they have played a really soft schedule and they've dominated it. If the Eagles win, then the Packers take over the division lead. So Green Bay, steady as she goes, 8-3-1. That was a big division road win at Detroit. Detroit's got to figure out how to get back into the playoff race now. I think if I've learned anything watching football this year, it's that Ben Johnson must be pretty good because they switched play callers in Detroit, and they're on the outside of the playoff picture looking in right now. They've got some teams to chase down. And meanwhile, Chicago is taking the division lead. Now, if they lose today, they lose the division lead, but nonetheless, they're in the thick of everything in the playoffs, which is a major improvement. And Caleb Williams is playing better. He's improving. He's not there yet, still a work in progress, but they are finding ways to win. So hats off to Ben Johnson. It has hurt Detroit to lose him, and it has been a really good hire for the Chicago Bears. And for Detroit now, well, figure out how to chase down San Francisco. I think of the teams in the playoff race, that's the one they're most likely to catch. But coming up on the outside, the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys with a win over the Chiefs. The Chiefs really started fast, really struggled in the middle of the game, took the lead in the fourth quarter, and the Cowboys came right back and won the game. And just Kansas City could not get the Dallas offense off the field. So Dallas wins, and now they are 6-5-1, and they are a threat in the playoff picture. Now, the problem with Dallas is they win at home and they lose on the road, basically. There are only 2 road wins with the Jets and the Raiders, and they got some big road games coming up, starting with the Lions Thursday night. So that is a massive game for them right there. But they have a pretty winnable schedule after that. If they can figure out a way to beat Detroit, Minnesota, the Vikings and Chargers at home, and then on the road the Commanders and Giants, well, that's a very doable schedule. If other people struggle, Dallas could look pretty good down the stretch here. And then the third game, Cincinnati, Joe Burrow with a couple of touchdown passes. The Ravens with 5 turnovers, 4 of them fumbles. They just could not get out of their own way. And an easy 32-14 win for the Bengals as they win in a blowout. Now, the Bengals improved to 4-8. And, why would Joe Burrow come back? Because that division is still winnable. They are 2 games behind the Ravens, and the Steelers are 6-5. And leading the division now. And the Ravens are 6-6. And the Steelers today have a very losable game. They're playing the Bills at home. Buffalo, they can win that, and Buffalo's 7-4, fighting for a wild card. Probably not going to win the division. Maybe they could, but that'd be highly motivated. We'll see if Buffalo gets it together. They've lost 4 of their last 6 games. So if the Steelers lose today, the Bengals are just 2 games out of first place, and they've got a winnable schedule down the stretch. Can't completely rule them out either. Heck of a day. All right, we got the Eagles today. Tons of playoff implications there. The Eagles, of course, just coming off that loss to the Cowboys. There's been a lot of negativity around a Super Bowl championship team that at 8-3 had the best record in the NFC until recently. Now the Rams do. We'll see if the Eagles can pull it together today. And then Sunday, another big slate of games coming up. As far as the playoff goes, I mean, the real marquee matchups were on Thanksgiving, but I am intrigued by Texans at the Colts. The Colts have been dominating, but they just took an L, and if the Texans win, they're only 1 game back in the division race. So that is a huge game Sunday in the AFC South. Really intrigued by that. The Shedeur Sanders story will continue. The Niner defense, much better than the Raider defense. How will Shedeur look against the Niners at home? Niners have had some injuries, but they're still playing great defense. Even without Bosa, even without Fred Warner, the former Cougar, their defense has been outstanding. So, all right, there's the NFL. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah.
The Utes kick off at Kansas at 10 a.m. this morning, going for win number 10 for Kyle Whittingham. That would be quite the exclamation point on the season. 10-win teams, hard to come by. Utes have had 10 of them ever. Ronnie Mack had 1. Urban Meyer had 2, actually, and then Kyle has had 7. So to get 10-2 in the regular season, not using a conference title game or any bowl game or anything like that, Kyle did that back in 2019 when they actually won 11 games, which is the 3rd most wins in school history. The Fiesta Bowl team won 12 and the Sugar Bowl team won 13. So Utes getting into rarefied air. That's the good news. They ought to beat Kansas. They ought to set the school rushing record. They need about 188 yards to get that. That was set back in 1984. So if you're looking for little milestones, they can add that in. Only one team this year has held them under 200 yards rushing. That was Texas Tech. We had like 202 against BYU, and the numbers have been astronomical against everybody else. So I'd assume they get that record, win this game. They're 10.5-point favorites, and then settle in for the Arizona State game. There's a complicated scenario where the Utes do still have a path to the Big 12 title game, but they have to win, first off, to start the dominoes falling. And then they need Arizona State to beat Arizona tonight. Actually, I think Arizona, healthier, playing a lot better football here at the end of the year. And I think I pick Arizona to win that game. It's a rivalry game. You never know, and it ought to be close. They're both 8-3. But if Arizona wins, then there's no tiebreaker scenarios for Utah. If Arizona State wins, then the Utes would actually have to root for BYU to win, and they need Texas Tech to lose at West Virginia. That is the only combination that would send them to the Big 12 title game. If BYU were to lose to UCF, that actually opens the door for Arizona State if they win. So it's a slim chance, but the Utes have to win. They have to have Arizona State win tonight, and then tomorrow they need West Virginia to upset Texas Tech and BYU to beat UCF. That is the path to the Big 12 title game. But all they can do is go out at 10 o'clock and try to win game number 10. DJ and PK.
Hashtag BYU.
BYU gearing up tomorrow for Senior Day to host UCF to get win number 11 and to send themselves to the Big 12 title game. It is all on the table. They're favored to handle UCF easily tomorrow. I would expect they would. However, that win might not be the win that sends BYU to the Big 12 title game, because it turns out in all the complicated scenarios, BYU is in with a win, but they are also in if Arizona State loses. If Arizona State is out, then BYU's got all the other tiebreakers, and they get back in with a loss. So, Cougar fans, if you want to watch tonight about 7 o'clock, Arizona and Arizona State play the Territorial Cup. And if the Arizona Wildcats win that thing, then it's set. Texas Tech is in, BYU is in, and they're not playing for anything tomorrow other than pride, stay in rhythm, send the seniors out the right way, win at home. I mean, there's all those things to play for, but they're in. The Big 12 title game ticket will not necessarily get punched at 11 a.m. in Provo. It could get punched tonight down in the desert. So, gives you a little something to watch, a little something to pay attention to. Even if you don't want to watch the game, at least check the score, because it could all be over in the Big 12 tonight. Arizona ranked 25th now, and Arizona State ranked 20th now. Turns out they've got they got a lot riding on that game. I don't know how much that, well, they have a lot riding on it. Rivalry game, 9th win. And Arizona State still does have a path. If they win the game to get in, they would need everybody else to lose. So there you go. Actually, don't need everybody else. BYU would do it for them. But they also get in if Texas Tech and Utah lose. So there's a couple paths there for ASU. It's not great, but they've got to win tonight, because if they lose, then it's Texas Tech versus BYU in the Big 12 title game. All right, DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah Jazz.
The Utah Jazz host the Sacramento Kings tonight at the Delta Center. This one gets underway a little on the late side. It's going to tip at 7:30. NBA Cup games should have the funky-looking floor out there. Jazz have already lost to Sacramento once, a one-point game out in Sacramento. Both these teams sitting on 5 wins. Both these teams near the bottom of the West, where I would expect them to be. Sacramento, though, should be a little better team this year. And Sacramento has won 2 of their last 3 games. They beat the Denver Nuggets. Who are you, and what have you done with the Kings? They beat Denver and they beat Minnesota. They've won 2 of the last 3. They also lost to Phoenix. So, Jazz and the Kings tonight, 7:30. Listen to the game on 97.5 The Zone.
Hashtag college basketball.
BYU defeats Miami 72-62, playing in the Terry Chocolate ESPN Events Invitational, whatever the heck that is in Florida. BYU gets the 10-point win. The story of the game, Kennard Davis Jr., 18 points. He missed 2 games after the accident and cited for DUI, and I think that's surprising to everybody that he's back after 2 games. Now, if you want to defend him, well, Coach was on the scene right away. He knows what's really going on, so this is okay. And if you don't like BYU, then it's like, only 2 games? Since when? Is the honor code all gone? Well, the honor code's not all gone. The BYU was just loaded up for what looked like a great season, and they sent their senior quarterback packing. So I wouldn't say the honor code's all gone. But at the same time, 2 games does raise eyebrows. So they haven't said anything yet about whatever circumstances there might be, because normally if you're DUI, you'd think a longer suspension. He does have a court hearing coming up on the 12th, so he totally gets saying nothing before a court hearing. You know, if the charge is dismissed then or something, maybe there's more of an explanation, but I think it'll be 2026 before we get more of an explanation and find out whatever details there are that intrigue you. BYU's back at it today. They play Dayton tonight, and the game's on ESPN at 7:30 as that tournament continues. And for the Utes, how about the win over Ole Miss? Hit 2 big free throws with 4 seconds left and get a win. That is easily the biggest win of the Alex Jensen era. All right, that is What is Trending, brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. No job too big or too small. Call the experts at Shamrock Plumbing. All right, the question of the day is now. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is time for Hot Takes or Toast, the question of the day. PK, we have so many football questions. We're going to run out of football days for all our football questions.
Oh, I plan to be on Earth a lot longer, so we've got time to answer them.
Let's take a look at the game. UCF 5-6, BYU 10-1. BYU by a lot.
This would be the most soul-crushing loss.
There are people not over you asking that last week. Last week I thought it was spot on. This week I know when they play the game, anything can happen on any given Saturday. I just don't see it.
Oh, neither do I. But I thought it was more legitimate or more seeable last week.
100%. You're on the road, traveling 2 time zones, playing a good team that was desperate because they'd lost 2 in a row. I just thought BYU's strengths lined up well against Cincinnati, and that game played out almost exactly the way I thought it would. I think I picked 31-20. It was 26-14. I trusted Jay's defense to keep Cincinnati under wraps, and they did. Now this UCF game, UCF just seems overmatched. I mean, they're 5-6. They've got to fly all the way across country.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're not the better team. I'm looking at the way they've performed on the road this year. And as you might expect, the struggle has been real. They went to Kansas State and lost by a couple of touchdowns.
Yes.
They went to Cincinnati, lost 20-11. They went to Baylor and lost 30-3. They went to Texas Tech and lost 48-9. I'm having a hard time seeing why it is they're suddenly going to figure it out on the road.
They're not going to. The Baylor loss is the one that really screams out to me. The Cincinnati one wasn't bad. The first one you mentioned, and then Texas just annihilates just about everybody they play, obviously. And so with that in mind, Baylor has not been knocking the socks off of people, and for UCF to lose to that game, to that situation, that just isn't good.
I was looking at the defensive numbers, and I think Baylor, in terms of scoring defense, just in the Power 4 leagues, is like the 6th worst scoring defense, and they held UCF to 3 points. Tech held them to 9. Cincinnati to 11. Their big performance on the road is K-State 20. Again, I think the BYU defense is going to have a really good day, and I think the offense is going to open it up early enough that this is going to be pretty comfortable, and people aren't going to have to stay for 4 quarters. Although the challenge here is getting there on time. It's an early game.
11 a.m.?
11 a.m., yeah. Super early. ESPN 2.
Yeah, it's all right, though. That'll be fine. November, this late in the season, senior day, obviously.
You'll be out of there by 2:30 if you stay for the whole game.
Yeah, so you're going to have a family weekend, friend weekend, whatever you're doing there. So you get to the stadium, enjoy the game, and go have turkey leftovers. You got to have turkey leftovers.
I totally agree. Turkey leftovers are the best.
Yeah.
UCF is 5-6. We should also point out that they started 3-0 against a soft non-conference schedule. They are 2-6 in league play, and they played them all in a row. So they have lost 6 of the last 8 games, and they just beat Oklahoma State 17-14.
Yeah, barely beating Oklahoma State, which shockingly has turned into by far the worst program in the Big 12. And none of us would have seen that going into it, but at least they did win that game. And they do have a chance to get bowl eligible, but I wouldn't put it on them there. I think the one, if you want to look at it, was at home. I think the Houston loss by 3, maybe gives you some hope there that they might be able to put up a fight. And
Houston by 3 and Kansas by 7 are the two would make you think, well, maybe.
Yeah. But BYU is playing this group of guys together at an all-time high level of confidence. And so they ought to
take them apart.
Yeah, it's set up for them to have a crowning achievement day. And they should celebrate going 11-1 and celebrating getting the opportunity to have the rematch against Texas Tech. All those things are worth celebrating. There's no doubt about it. And I've got no problem with them celebrating any of that stuff. Why not?
This is what it's about. Celebrate the good times, and they've got good times. Now, I guess that's a song, but I didn't really mean it that way. Just came out. Cool in the gang. All right. Yeah, I didn't intend to say that. I intended to say it, obviously, but I did not intend to draw a song lyric from it. And do what you do there, and then you've got the rest of the day, and they talk about, okay, the rest of the day, and then it's over, and then you get down to business and preparation for what we expect will be Texas Tech the following week. And that's the starting time will be the exact same. I think it's 11 o'clock Central Time the following week, so you can be in that routine a little bit, and a widely, highly anticipated game to see what we got going. And for BYU, everything is there that you wanted in a football season ever. And you don't have to have somebody say, for now, right now. Maybe if you lose that game the following week, you need somebody to throw you a bone. But right now, you don't.
If you win the next two, you take care of business, you're in the tournament. If you don't sweep the next two games, then you need a break.
I don't think you do, but I get people do think that. Yeah, that'd be ridiculous to me, but what do I know? So we'll worry about that at that time. And the thing about it is your pattern of winning offensively, it's not the Ty Detmer throw 3 interceptions and 7 touchdown passes.
Yep.
And so nobody cares about the interceptions because you're chucking the ball all over the field all the time, and you win 54-28. That's not the formula for this program this year. It's to play that great defense, minimally be even in special teams. Maybe they can give you an advantage, but don't give you behind the chain, so to speak, special teams wise, which has happened a couple of times. And then play the sufficient, take care of the ball at all costs offense. And it may not be the sexiest way to win, but it's the way it's designed to win right now. And get the ball to L.J. Martin, let him do his thing. Ideally, what you would like, obviously, is to have a big lead and get him out of the ball game, and limit Bears carries.
Ideally, a big lead and get everybody out of the game. I totally see where you're going with this. That's a huge game with Texas Tech. You need all your guys. The fewer bumps and bruises, the fewer sprained ankles, the better off.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's they can't say that. But I think that's
the message has to be jump on them early.
Control the game. Now, I don't know that they're capable of jumping on people. Control the game.
They're not capable of jumping on a lot of people. I think they're capable of jumping on UCF at home.
Well, but they need these plotting type drives.
They tend to, yeah.
So I don't know that it can be 21-0. I don't know if there's enough time, unless you come up with a defensive score or a short field, to do that in the first quarter.
They're not completely big play challenged, but I get your point.
Right.
They can make big plays.
Just be comfortable after 1.
And they can get turnovers and then get short fields.
Be really comfortable after 2. Maybe play a series or 2 after 3, and then take their helmets and pads. I guess you probably couldn't do that in case you're sending a bad message, but ideally that's the objective. Get the younger dudes in there, get your stars out, your starters out, and get Jack Kelly, Glasgow. We all know who the guys are. Get them out of there, and just have a great time. And then you always know if they think they're going to win, because nobody wants a senior day, because they've had a few of these back in the old days, especially as an independent, where the game's at 8:30 and you're playing Idaho State or whatever, and you did it after the game. And then they go, well, wait a second, we don't want to do it after the game if we lose, so they do it before the game. So if they have the senior thing after the game, then that'll tell you they expect to win.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a little early, but the family and friends who want to be there to honor their youngsters will be there. If the game started at 8 a.m., they'd be there. Mom will be there at 7. Dad may be straggling a little bit, but you know darn well Mom will be there.
7:45. I was there in time. What are you looking for me for?
Mom will be there at 6:30. So this is just a great crowning achievement day. And for a program
that I think I can say surprisingly has elevated itself to this level this quickly. To go 5-7, and granted Slovis got hurt. Probably if he stays healthy, you win 1 or 2 more games. But you go 5-7 in your first year, and then the next year you're winning 11 games in each of the next 2 seasons. I did not see that coming, man. And especially last year you start a new quarterback. This year you start a new quarterback. You start a freshman, no less, not somebody in the program. He doesn't get on campus until late. All that stuff goes on there, and you still don't miss a beat. You got to just say bravo, job well done, because coaches take a ton of heat when things don't go right, and when things go right, they need to be praised.
I agree, but they're still taking heat from the crazies out there. That's very,
but see, that's your social media stuff, to where you read a couple of things. That's the world in which we live. The anonymous social media dude or dudette is always going to be out there. I don't consider that legitimate.
They still take heat.
But you're not taking heat from the people who matter. Who cares? No, the people who matter, the Brian Santiago's of the world, aren't giving these guys heat.
They know 10-1's a good thing.
Yes. So you're never going to have a universal whatever.
They've won. What is the record now?
No, you shouldn't.
What is the record now?
What do you mean? They're 10-1?
But over 2 years.
They were 11-2, and they're 10-1 right now. And we expect them to go 11-1.
21-3.
Yeah. Right, but that doesn't. That's like put a sign at the end of the court. End racism. We solved it. No problem. It's done now. Not in today's world. You're always going to have idiots.
So right now, the only idiots are anonymous fools on social media and the College Football Playoff Committee.
Well, they haven't made a final ruling.
They have not.
And no one's bagging on BYU on the college. No,
just not giving them their flowers.
It is a slanted, biased system to begin with. That has nothing to do with the Cougars.
The game is rigged when it comes to the playoff. The SEC wants their 5 bids, and they're going to get them. Well, they want 6 or 7.
And maybe over the long term, it'll sting in the short term, but maybe over the long term, that'll actually help it.
How so?
Because you're saying, wait a second here, you're not going to invite BYU, and they go 11-2, 2 seasons in a row, and you invited SMU. Because you say the thing is rigged, and you always go to the SEC, but SMU's not in the SEC.
Fact.
So they got in.
They did.
And so I don't know why you're totally eliminating it. You're overlooking.
Well, I think the reason with SMU is because there's 2 reasons that it always goes to SMU. One is that this BYU season is playing out a lot like the SMU season a year ago. And also a year ago, BYU won at SMU.
Okay.
So I think those are 2 reasons that I, along with a lot of other people, but I'll own it because I'm doing it, I'm defaulting to SMU over and over.
And how so?
Because I've brought up SMU a million times. I did just bring up the SEC here. It's rigged in favor of the SEC. But SMU got a break that I think BYU isn't going to get, if you consider that
Why
a break.
not?
They got in a large bid.
Oh, I think it's a break.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Well, break means maybe they didn't earn it.
No, okay, fine. I'm fine either way.
Maybe the debate shouldn't have been BYU versus SMU. Maybe it should have been BYU and SMU versus, I don't know, Tennessee. Or pick somebody else who got in at large last year. There's always a presumption, well, it's the ACC versus the Big 12, because, of course, the Big 10 and the SEC are in.
Understood.
And
I'll go with that.
Earlier this week, we had on Shahan Jayaraja, who, when I asked him about, matchup, hypothetical matchups, because we're never going to see them, even if BYU gets in, they're not going to play Alabama. What would BYU Alabama look like? And he went right to, Alabama doesn't run the ball well. And BYU defends the run well. So Alabama probably didn't run the ball, and now they're one-dimensional and thrown into the BYU defense. That could be a real problem.
Okay, I still don't understand why you think SMU would get the so-called break that BYU wouldn't get. I don't understand
because BYU's spent so much of the season below the line, and SMU spent so much of the season above the line last year. SMU was in the field week after week after week. And I just don't know that BYU... They haven't been seen that way all year long, and whatever happens in the conference title game could sink them.
It also could propel them without winning.
I just don't see that. And it's a beauty pageant, so I can't tell you you're absolutely wrong because they can do whatever they want. I just don't see them doing that. I don't see 11-2 BYU getting in. I think BYU needs to be 12-1 to get in.
I think the penalty for losing, they will be heavily penalized, and they'll take care of Miami or Alabama.
Not if they play
else.
well. Not if they give Texas Tech a game and it's 5 minutes to go. No, I believe in the integrity of people who I don't know have any integrity. But I'm going to assume
You're
they
going
do.
to assume that even though you don't know these people.
Correct.
Well, with one exception. Mark Harlan. He's on the committee now.
And I'm going to assume he has integrity. And you can take shots at the guy all you want.
Well, I think that the national discussion would be having integrity would mean sticking it to BYU and sticking it to your conference, because I think the reason they have an AD on from every conference is because they know everyone assumes, well, they're going to pull for their conference.
And I think he will.
There's literally payouts involved, so I get why people think that.
He'll see the situation being what it is. It's not like, oh my gosh, our program's over here in the toilet and we can't let BYU continue to pull away. They haven't pulled away from Utah. Right now, we're back to where we were 12 years ago.
Fourth quarter lead changes, dramatic finishes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we've gotten past the independent era. Is long gone, even though it's just briefly gone. But the complexion of the program changed. And so now these two are, in my mind, they're even. You have a 3-point ball game in somebody's stadium. Don't be running your mouth like you're the dominant program here. Come on. That's just not right. It's not true. That's not who they are. And so I think Harlan has got a job to do, and I believe he's, to quote Barry Switzer, he's going to do it, baby.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. More football on the day after Turkey Day. College football taking over. Although now we have pro football on Friday, too. College football taking over here for the next 48 hours. DJ and PK, we'll get to that next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, PK. Utah and BYU. They're playing. They'd love to see some of the big dogs lose. Who gets upset? Who do you think is at risk and could open the door so that our teams could climb? Let's have a dramatic, chaotic day.
Well, I think it's an extreme long shot for Utah.
Yeah.
But it's not who do you want, who do you need? It's like, for instance, if Georgia gets upset, so what? You'd actually want Georgia to win.
Oh, yeah. If Georgia Tech beats Georgia, and that game's coming up at 1:30 today, if Georgia would have 2 losses, I don't think it knocks them out. Tech, though, at 10-2, maybe they jump back into the picture. That's a marquee win.
Right.
That's a bad loss they just had to Pitt because it's like Texas Tech and BYU. They weren't competitive early on, and they're looking for a reason to doubt them anyway, and it's a second loss.
So if Purdue, which won't happen, but if they should upset Indiana, it doesn't matter.
Nope, Indiana at 11-1 gets in.
Yeah.
I do think that if Ole Miss loses to Mississippi State at 10-2, and then after the game, Lane Kiffin says he's going to LSU or Florida, I wonder if Ole Miss will get left out. 2 losses, and your coach is gone, and that means how does that change motivation and all that? I wonder. Mississippi State's 5-6. It's not. It's a bad loss.
Not going to happen.
Okay.
A&M in Texas obviously is a possibility.
A&M would not be knocked out with a loss. Texas probably doesn't vault back in with a win, but I guess you never know.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. You never know.
I think it vaults them into the discussion, but I don't think it actually gets them in.
I think the late game, if the Sun Devils win, I think that vaults them into an at-large bid just because we like Kenny.
Big Fox, 8-3 Arizona at 8-3 ASU. This is a good matchup. This is a good game to have in-state rivals playing with 8-3 records.
But do you know the thing that bugs me?
What?
Is that for most of the season, they've got to play at night because it's too blazing hot.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't show off the existence of the city of Phoenix and the existence of the city of Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
And that is 1:30 in the afternoon in 71-degree weather.
Yeah.
And a sunny skies.
For a while
I
there,
hate when this game is at night.
For a while, they were playing this game at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that.
It should be.
And it became like a standard. It was like part of my Thanksgiving weekend routine. I knew, okay, Arizona's going to play Arizona State Friday afternoon.
Yes.
They had the thing locked in.
Right. And
And the sun was out, and everybody else is shoveling snow or has the umbrella out against the rain, and they're running around, and then they take a shot. There's a bunch of co-eds up there, and everybody's in short sleeves.
Right.
And they swing their hair, and the hair flies around. Everybody else's hair is under a beanie that's got the little ski beanie with a little fluffy ball on top.
Always bugged me when they play this game at night, because I always thought it should be in the day, because you got to play all the other games. It's too hot. And
the Chamber of Commerce should be buying a time slot.
And they show in September people that look like they're dehydrated and been wandering the desert for 40 days.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's so blazing hot.
Yep.
And you finally get some good weather, and they stick it to you then. So that's just a personal issue. I think, unfortunately for the Devils, I mean, they've been scraping by. But the situation being what it is, if the team was at full health, but it's not, and so what? But I think Arizona's got enough offense going there. It's going to be difficult, but who knows? Maybe. Although I would take 8-4 with a chance. If you go 8-4, then probably you get a lesser bowl opponent, so you got a better chance to win. And 9-4, if you're an ASU fan and any 2-year time period,
you win 19 games.
If you win 20, if they go 9-4,
yeah, right. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, I would
cheat them out of the conference title win. I forgot about that.
I would take that.
Yeah,
any 2-year period,
20 wins in 2 years.
Yeah,
sign me up.
Yeah,
that's a lot of winning.
That's pretty good.
Ohio State, Michigan. This feels like Texas A&M. Ohio State's not falling out of the tournament if they lose, but Michigan could vault up. I actually take Michigan getting in more seriously than I do Texas. Michigan be 10-2. Texas would be 9-3. Michigan 10-2 with a win over Ohio State.
I can't argue that.
I know. And Alabama with like 4 wins. Notre Dame's the team that should be gone. It won't happen. Or Alabama. I just don't think Alabama and Oklahoma have beaten more ranked teams. Notre Dame's lost to 2 ranked teams. And lost to 2 very good teams.
Yeah, but there's 2 words that favor Notre Dame.
Notre and Dame. Or fighting and Irish. Which ones?
If you want to go the nickname, fine. I don't see
them getting left out.
They are going to, I believe, always have the easiest non-automatic invitation.
Unless Stanford does the unthinkable in Palo Alto.
They're hot.
Okay, they just beat Cal with 2 defensive scores.
They're hot.
And it was cool that they were interviewing Andrew Luck, and he ran right by him, and he's screaming. It was very good TV.
You hardly ever have it.
It was very good. He realized, hold on, I got to see this. And then he's following, get it. And then he's right in line with the runner. I mean, like in a movie, they would have had to choreograph that to make sure they got it right. And then it happened live, and they got it right.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's favored by 32.5 points, so I don't think Stanford's going to pull that off. They used all their big plays to shock Cal and get Wilcox fired. Okay, so Auburn could beat Alabama. Is that the one? Alabama 5.5-point favorite.
On paper, they can.
I don't think any of these things are going to happen. But if I had to rank them in order of what is most likely to happen, I suppose that's where you got to go.
Okay. Fine. I'm with you on that.
Vanderbilt is kind of in the mix at 9-2. So if Tennessee could beat Vandy and at least get them out of the mix, that doesn't get you in, but at least to make sure somebody else doesn't get in.
What?
If Vanderbilt wins at Tennessee, they'll be 10-2, and there'll be pressure to put another SEC team in. Now, maybe at the expense of an SEC team, and maybe Vanderbilt is like what I said earlier about this puts them in the conversation, but it doesn't get them in. But I just think you would prefer the Tennessee beat Vandy, and then Vandy's got 9-3, and then there's no
Understood.
talk. Eliminate those guys.
I agree.
Can LSU 7-4 go in and beat 9-2 Oklahoma? Oklahoma didn't look great against Missouri. Well, that's not true. The defense looked great. Can't blame the D. They gave up 2 field goals. The D did their thing.
Yeah.
But the offense, you don't get to win a lot of college football games with 17 points. Could Oregon lose at Washington?
Yes.
Oregon 6.5-point favorite.
Yes.
So if LSU goes into Oklahoma and wins, and Oregon goes up to Seattle and loses to Washington, that could open 2 spots, and then chaos could reign.
I think Washington is sneaky good, and Jed Fish desperately wants a better job.
So he's 8-3, coach him up, win that game, turn heads, and now anyone can sell it in a press conference.
Yeah. Right. That's a dangerous game if I'm Oregon. Extremely dangerous game.
So those are the two we're looking at because Notre Dame is not.
I wouldn't think so. No, I mean, Stanford was like 87-point underdog, and they beat USC several years ago.
So the third one then on rivalry weekend to look at would be Ole Miss, Mississippi State. I mean, a lot of these, the three unbeatens aren't falling out. Even if Texas wins, I just don't see that it does anything.
How about West Virginia
flouted.
throwing the kitchen sink at Tech?
Okay, number one, I do not believe that's going to happen. Number two.
Yeah, but you don't believe any of these things are going to happen.
Number two, no, that's. Well, I certainly would put. Let's see. Let's rank them on their availability to happen. I would say that would probably be fourth. I mean, I think Oregon at Washington is clearly the one that's most likely to happen. Although I don't know if the odds makers think that. Yeah. I don't pick against 23.5 point favorites very often. You're right.
You go with the brand.
Do you pick against 23.5 point favorites? Because that's what Tech is at West Virginia.
It's not about picking. It's about the possibility. No, I would not. No, I'm not. But it's the possibility. West Virginia has improved as the season progresses, and Rich Rod is an extremely creative offensive mind. We all agree on that, right?
He is.
Both teams have had a bye, so that sort of levels it out. But they are at home.
And they could win a shootout. I mean, we've said since the start of the year, and that's how they beat Houston, which is their best win so far. They won 45-35. Now, I just have a hard time, having watched Texas Tech's defense just smother both Utah and BYU.
It's not going to happen by all thought processes.
But if it's going to happen,
we're throwing stuff out.
But if it's going to happen, it will happen with a coach like Rich Rod.
Yeah.
Who is wildly creative offensively. The defense is hit and miss, but you get some turnovers and you win a crazy high-scoring game.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
They beat Pitt.
Wouldn't bet anything on
They beat Pitt 31-24 in overtime, and that really came out of nowhere. And especially the way these two seasons have gone. I mean, it looks. You always used to talk about the Pac-12 has 4 or 5 stunners every year, and if you go nationally, you're looking for stunners 4 or 5. I think you've got to go right there with West Virginia and Pitt.
It was early.
UCLA
I just don't know enough about Pitt to
beating
make
Penn
that.
State.
In retrospect, no.
But at the time,
maybe
Penn State was broken by Oregon, literally broken. They broke them. They were all in on that. And when they lost, everything fell apart.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm not ready to make that statement in the Big 12 that I always made in the Pac-12. For one, I had 40 plus years of history. Here, I've only got 2 or 3. But I just the Big 12 teams don't seem to have some of these skill players. Like the Devils had no business beating Oregon a few years back, but Jaden Daniels to Brandon Ayuk. The Oregon State came in and they stunk, and Sean Mannion to Brandon Cooks. Right?
Tech losing to ASU. Okay, so if they lose, they should lose. I know. I was going to say if they lose to a team that's 6-2 in conference.
Well, okay, and 15-2 when they have the quarterback and,
right, and the wide receiver.
Yeah,
and BYU's loss is at Texas Tech, so that's not a stunner. Utah's losses are to Texas Tech and BYU, not stunners. So ASU, were you stunned by either of the ASU losses at 6-2?
No,
because then now we're down to teams that are 5-3, and almost by definition, that's not stunning.
No. We haven't had the monumental upsets in this conference.
No.
Oh, hopefully we don't get one tomorrow in Provo.
But maybe we get one in West Virginia, Morgantown.
Oh, you know what they say about Morgantown?
What do they say about Morgantown? All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning. It's DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up, we're out of here early today, PK.
We are?
Yes, we are. Why do you say it like that?
Oh, good for us. An hour early. Yeah, I don't really care.
Because?
Because doing an hour of radio is nothing.
It really isn't. So it's not heavy lifting.
Every day's I'm out of here early. Every day's a day off. I look up every freaking day. Literally every day I look up, wow, It's already 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Well, coming up today at 2 o'clock, we got Boise State and Utah State.
Right.
That game's on CBS, national TV. The whole country gets to see it.
Oh, I'll be watching.
Who's going to the Mountain West Conference title game? Unfortunately, not Utah State. But they got to say in it because Boise State, 3.5-point favorite, has a chance to get to the title game. This is not your grandpa's Boise State Broncos. They are 7-4 this year. They are vulnerable. They've had multiple quarterbacks. We can get to that. They have scored points, though. They're averaging 32 points a game. Utah State's averaging 31 points a game. They're two of the top 3 scoring offenses in the league. So do you anticipate first team to 30 wins this one?
No, because against good teams with the quarterback change, the kid from American Fork, Madsen, has been hurt. This is a long shot to play. And you look at, okay, they put 49 on CSU. Whoop-de-doo. CSU fired
the coach. Yeah.
And the 2 games before, granted, San Diego State has an outstanding defense. They've proven it all season long. They only scored a touchdown. Fresno's pretty good defensively, only scored a touchdown. So if you go the Fresno game, which is the most recent in our memory, so it's easy to do, it looks like Utah State has a chance to at least certainly minimally give these guys a game. Defensively, we talked to Bronco about this earlier in the week. His defense has been a lot better. He talked about how it clicked in around midseason, and you just look at the last 2 defensive performances of the defense holding Vegas down. That was overtime. Well, again, they got 29, but that was inflated because of the overtime, right? And Vegas had been a prolific offensive team. They are to offense what San Diego State has been to defense in the Mountain West, and the Aggies really held them down, and then they allowed 0 points, right, in the second half against Fresno. So this defense clearly is playing far better than it did earlier in the year, and it's playing its best ball. You got a backup quarterback most likely for the Broncos, so I think that it's an opportunity to be a lower scoring game here. I'm real interested to see. Normally, if it's been the last couple seasons, you think, oh, that's going to be a blowout in this game. I'd be surprised, man. I think they got a legitimate chance. Speaking of the Aggies, to go to 7-5, which in Broncos' first year would be an outstanding accomplishment.
7-5 would be fantastic, beating a Boise State team that they've lost 9 in a row and 21 of the last 22. That would feel sweet. And just putting the exclamation point on this thing at home would be awesome.
Where they have not lost a game, right?
They have not. They are 5-0 at home. Yeah,
and I think that's important, man. If you can go 6-0 at home, there's something to be said for that because that generates the hometown fans, the students, blah, blah, blah. I know it's Thanksgiving week, but I'm talking about the schedule in its entirety for next season. There'll be momentum. And we know the students will turn out. They turn out for basketball. It's a bigger thing. You need more for football. Mm-hmm. I understand that. But still, you can be passionate. And they are very passionate for basketball because the basketball team has put them in a position to be passionate because they win. And it's the same thing for football here. And if Bronco goes and gets 7-5, it gets a ton of momentum to go out there in the recruiting world and in the transfer world. Because, hey, if you're not playing at school X, come here and we could really use you and you could flourish. And it'll be a fun time too.
If this game is close, when it comes to kicking, and the Aggies obviously had the problems kicking the ball in Vegas, and other than that, they've been great in the kicking game. Boise State 8 of 12 on field goal attempts. When I see 12 field goal attempts, which is in the bottom quarter of the league, that tells me they don't even want to try to kick it. They know they've got issues.
Or that could tell you they finished drives with touchdowns, though.
And I think they do finish them with touchdowns, and I think they finish it by going for it on 4th down. 12 field goals is a very, very few attempts.
Okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
Well, they're 8 of 12. That's not good.
I'm not talking about the field goal kicking. I'm talking about bad for the team. Two different things.
If they hit on those 4th down conversions, then...
Right.
Yeah.
It's analytics, buddy. You go argue with analytics.
They're at 57%.
I'm not arguing with
on
analytics.
The conversions. Boise State, 16 of 28.
Doesn't matter.
The Aggies don't go for it very often, but when they do, they're pretty good.
What do you like, the most interesting man? Or the guy
I did think that. I thought I was going halfway down that road. They are the most interesting 4th down offense in the world. What do you think with Bryson Barnes? He's been so much of the running game. You think he can handle another week of punishment? Because he has had a lot of carries the last 2 weeks. He's taken a lot of punishment.
Yeah, this is it. The end is in sight.
He gets to play 2 more
I don't think you're going to play in the NFL.
Nope.
So you're never going to have this again.
Don't rule out the CFL.
I don't know what he wants, what he's looking for in his life.
He's
and all
already
that
married.
stuff.
He's already married with a kid. We've heard this story before. It usually is time to move on and do something different.
So this is an opportunity for him. He's a tough kid. We know that. And whatever it takes. He is a classic by any means necessary kind of kid. And so he would obviously like nothing more than to go out while having won all your home games, home crowd, you're a Utah kid, a few hours away, but nevertheless in the state. I expect him to be at peak performance.
He's almost the team's leading rusher. He's only like 50 yards back of Miles Davis. 45 yards, it looks like, back. So his 8 touchdowns lead him on the ground. Can they run him again and just go until he can't go anymore, I guess?
Well, he'll run himself. I don't know if they'll want to run him, but
he'll call some QB draws, but he does pull it down and take off. You're right.
He'll run himself. So with that in mind, I expect him to be who he always is until he literally can't do it anymore. And I'm not anticipating that. And that's too much of a weapon to not. You have to utilize, if you want to win this game, you have to utilize all your weapons, and he is your most significant weapon. So he must. It's a requirement. In order for them to win, he has to do it. It's not a question of can he or will he, or it's a question of yes. He not only has to do it, he has to be effective doing it. Because if he's not, that really curtails their opportunities and their chances.
Well, Fresno, it was 23 carries for 113 yards, 5 yards a pop. And when you add in sack yardage, it's even more impressive. Because I'm sure he had he's given up a few yards there. Most running backs don't have to give up. And he was also 124 yards against UNLV on 22 carries. So, man, that's a lot of hits. That's 45 carries in the last 2 games. He's a full-time running back. And he's the QB.
Individually, he's as good a weapon as this conference has.
Well, and that's why Bronco said he wants him to get the offensive, player of the year.
I think you might have to win some more games, and
that's
you can only win one more.
Bronco said there's politics that goes with this, and probably have to be on a better team.
Yeah. But this would be a significant win. I think that you would potentially argue the best that they've had all season. I think last week's was very, very good. Under the circumstances of needing that game to take the pressure off as far as being bowl eligible, you've got 2 games to go. And so last week, and the way they did it, and they basically dominated the second half. That was what was super cool, is that, you talk about asserting your will and all that football cliche stuff. They did that in that game.
Mm-hmm.
They were up to the task of being as tough or tougher than what Fresno. And Fresno had a ton to play for in that game and had a 10-point lead, 17-7 at half, right? And they still did it. You factor all those things into it. Clearly, that was your best win of the season. I suppose, depending on the complexion of today's game, that could change. But right now, that was a monument. That was I don't want to go too crazy. It wasn't necessarily a program changer. I'm not going to say that, but I think it was a program builder to show everybody, hey, I'm Bronco Mendenhall. This is what me and my staff do when we coach football. We go into Fresno that's riding high, and we beat these guys, man. They are 7-3, and they had a 10-point lead at halftime at home. They're thinking they're going to win. Kurt and Brenda Warner are in the stands, and we still beat them.
I wonder how many players on the field get that. Time passes so fast.
Kurt and Brenda Warner?
Kurt and Brenda Warner.
Well, the thing about Kurt is he works for the NFL Network, so he's still doing games, so he's still out there.
Yeah, he is. Brenda's a little lower profile now. But for a while, she was very high profile.
When he was a player.
Yeah.
You want to hear a story about time passing? This is a great story.
Oh, boy.
You had stepped out, and Yak had told me this story the other day, is that we have these commercials that air on our stations. With Doug Wright does it for the Ruth Chris, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about how we got 2 up Park City when here downtown, blah blah blah. And so they obviously hired him. He's Doug Wright, man. He did a show for 40 years.
Right.
Wow. And somebody, I don't want to embarrass the young man on the air, hears this commercial and has heard it multiple times and says to Yak, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah. It's coming for us all, PK. Father Time's undefeated. That's just another way Father Time wins. Father Time slows down athletes. Father Time takes names like, well, you're just getting started, but you hope you have half of his career.
Yeah. This guy did it for 40 years.
I know. And how long have we been doing it?
23, 24.
Yeah.
He did it 40 years, man. And ours, gosh, I couldn't imagine. I don't pay attention too much to the political stuff. It drives me nuts. But it's not. Ours seems so much easier to do than he had to do because there's so much news. I just got to pay attention to football, basketball, baseball, and hockey, and I'm good to go. Which I've been paying attention to it my whole life. Now I'm actually getting paid to pay attention to it. I win. But you got to do all that other stuff there, and the young man did not have any clue. But I think you would know who Kurt Warner is if you pay attention to the NFL because he's still very active in that.
I think the thing, to your point about best win of the year, Fresno can't be superseded. It was too important. It was...
It can't be?
No.
But even Boise State?
I think if they beat Boise State, it becomes the twin wins that ended the year, that turned the corner. Then they stand together.
Twin wins. I like that.
Yeah. Because they, to come in and go 0-6 on the road, that's terrible. Unable to win on the road is just such a sign of weakness in a sport that is so much about toughness. They had to get a road win. And they needed to be bowl eligible. Now, granted, they could have lost that game and won this one and been bowl eligible. But they checked 2 big boxes when they won there. And the fact that they were down 10 at the half and they won the second half 21-0 and won the game without any last-second luck or drama, it was a definitive win. They actually took the lead kind of early to midway through the fourth quarter. Fresno State had chances to get back in it and couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The defense, they only gave up maybe 4 first downs, I think, in that second half. It was a sensational performance. Now, if you beat Boise and end this 9-game losing streak, that's, again, you're putting them back to back. It's like we've turned the corner. Here's what we did in the first 10 games. Here's what we did in the next 2. We are figuring stuff out. So I like what you said about program builder. And I think that if they do win this game, then it stands shoulder to shoulder with Fresno. Depending on the complexion of it.
The problem is if you win this game, then Boise goes to be 7-5. Well, it's clearly they had an off year. And Fresno, they got Nevada tomorrow, so we're assuming they'll win.
They'll be 8-4.
Yeah.
We assume.
So that would look 8-4, 5-3 would look like a more impressive win than beating an injured Boise team, but it's still Boise.
I know. So I think the two stand together and you figured stuff out, and nobody wants to play in a bowl game. And I would think that the Aggies don't have very many people opt out. I would think they mostly play in the bowl game. There may be a few guys who are headed to the transfer portal to bigger schools for bigger paydays. So I think that would be the opt-out scenario.
Yeah, but the portal doesn't open up until January 2nd.
Right, but people have been tampering. So
but I don't know to that level.
Maybe
I don't know that
we'll
Utah
see.
State's got...
Well, then they'll have everybody.
I don't know that either. There's a lot of stuff... Basically, I don't know. Well, but I don't know that we can know about anything when it comes to that stuff.
I don't think anybody wants to play them in a bowl game. They are coming.
Nobody wants to play them?
Nobody wants to play them. And that goes for you, Ohio State. You're running scared to that little playoff thing of yours. You're frightened.
Well, we shall see on that what the matchup would be, who it would be, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But then, man, if you get that, if that's the case, and let's just go for the premise of the argument, if that's the case, you're rolling out 8 wins in your first year.
Awesome.
Taking off a program that sucked last year, and you brought in all these new dudes.
You turned everybody over. You turned the coaching staff over. Yeah.
Wow. I agree. That would be phenomenal. I wasn't even thinking bowl wins, but now that you brought it up, that's a selling point that gives them a ton of momentum. Yeah, and it's so important, too, because they're up there, obviously removed from the metropolitan area down here, and the people up there really want to support that team.
Mm-hmm.
It's their identity. I can recall my kid is playing Little League football, right? And they're out on the practice field. And so there's like 20 teams out there, right? Mm-hmm. And this one guy, he knew who I was. I'd go at the end, pick him up, and he may have been coaching one of the other teams. Every time, how about the Aggies? He would say it to me every time, because there's something about that.
You're the underdog. You're the little guy, the outsider. I totally get it. I know 3 or 4 Aggies, and they all have some semblance of that going on. Yeah,
it's like the way I always felt being a Sun Devil guy. They're not nationally relevant very often.
Yeah. And
we're
you're in a
buried
newsroom
behind these other teams.
Yeah, you're in a newsroom with USC fans.
That's sort of cool. In a sense. Yeah. I'm not some bandwagon dude here who's just going to pick some team.
That's not the bandwagon you'd pick.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if they have a moment, that's really cool because they don't have that many. And it's sort of like small townish in a sense, if that makes sense.
The key for the Aggies would be keeping somebody there and building it up so that more of the Aggies who move back to the Wasatch Front after school stay connected and go up there. And I think they've made some progress, but there's obviously a lot more to be made.
Right, but I don't think Bronco's going to go anywhere. I'd be shocked at his age.
The question is, how long will he coach? And will they follow it up with someone who's really good?
Well, that remains to be seen. Right. Who knows? But I think he goes at least another 5.
Even with Matt Wells, who had a pretty long run there, it was up and down. There was a big year, there's a mediocre year, there's
Matt
a bad
Wells
year.
had stars in his eyes, though.
He did.
He was looking to get out at the first chance.
He did.
And he took a Texas Tech job, which was not a good job at the time.
Right. Yeah, his timing on that wasn't great.
Right. It's a whole different ball of wax now. Which is why then when McGuire took that job, why he probably got the job, because it wasn't a great job. He didn't have the credentials to have a great job.
And then everything changed.
Well, then the world changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a guy named Cody Campbell says, Joey, I'm your best friend. You absolutely are.
Write me some checks.
Yeah, and away they go. Certainly with this year. The rules will change a little bit for next year, so it'll be interesting because Texas Tech has so many one-and-done dudes that they brought in specifically for this season, and it worked out.
They'll have money.
Great. It reminds me like the perfect storm that came together when Durant signed with the Warriors.
Yeah.
There was an opportunity there. They took advantage of it. They won 2 titles. Same thing this year with Tech. We'll see what they can do going forward.
Well, the thing with Tech, and this is for another segment, the thing with Tech is you can bring in more players. Will you get it right? Obviously, we see other teams, other sports, you don't always pay the right guy. And then in football, even if you get it right, they have to stay healthy. And then also, it's such a team game. They do seem to be feeding off each other, some kind of camaraderie, and their talents complement each other.
They came in and it was a now or never for these guys.
Right. But it doesn't mean that when you
binded them immediately.
So you can add water, stir, and the cake turns out great. Yeah. But the next time you add water and stir, the cake may not turn out great.
But it's going to be different. You can't just target the one guys, pay them an enormous amount of money. The money will be a little more equal with the rules, so there'll be other schools. Yeah. They literally, you can read the story, they told David Bailey, the stud, we will give you way more money. Mm-hmm. You need to take this phone call. And he took it, and then he goes there. And their recruiting has been incredible, but it'll be interesting to see the recruits coming next year. Will they be able to have that immediate impact?
Right.
Because they'll still be young. The guys they brought in, none of these guys were young.
No,
they were all veterans in the game.
Ready to win now.
And they did win 8 games last year, so they had a nice starting point. It wasn't a total rebuild. You win 8 games in a season, that's something that you can build on a lot better, obviously, than if you only win 2 or 3. And so that's the situation.
All right, well, that's for them to figure out down the line, and Bronco will have a slightly different deal to figure out here. The problem in the Mountain West is the better you play, the more people want to pick off your top-end players. So,
but then I think that's sure, but the more you can get people to come to your place, too.
And that'll be the trick.
You could be up and down in that way, literally.
Yep. And that'll be the trick.
Maybe they get Sam Levitt next year.
Come on now.
He wants to play where his brother played.
Come on now.
You never know, because you never know who's going to. Football is a hard sport to predict who's going to be great and who's going to be overrated and not pan out and transfer 2 other times.
All right, DJ and PK, a lot of football coming up today. Utah is at Kansas at 10 a.m. We got the pregame show coming up at 9 a.m. And then the Aggies play at 2 2 p.m. So plenty of football here on the day after Thanksgiving. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning, it's DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. PK.
Yeah.
The University of Utah wraps it up today in Kansas. You know, a question when you're talking to someone, because I don't know if they'd want to answer this on camera. Maybe they would. This is the second year in a row they played on the road on Thanksgiving weekend. I wonder if they did some survey of their fans, or at least the high-end boosters, and like nobody really wants to go to a home game on Thanksgiving weekend. Have they requested these? Put us on the road on Thanksgiving. We don't care. No, not to mine either, but I haven't asked.
I think it stinks.
Yeah. You want home games.
Yeah. If I'm a coach, a player, or they've got so many support staff members, that's another reason why I'd want BYU and Utah on this week. At least you can have some semblance of a Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're home, you're home. And if you're away, you're still home. You know?
Yeah, the road team in the BYU-Utah game doesn't have to go anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you play on Saturday, you could just have your regular routine, and Thanksgiving can be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you drive up on Friday, stay at the hotel, blah, blah, blah.
It's one advantage if they do, and this is very preliminary as far as we know, but if they were to go to a Wednesday night game, which Mark Harlan, the athletic director, told us, is one of the things they're looking for unique TV windows, because that's where they get the best ratings and create the most value and can get the most money back from the TV networks. What about Wednesday? What about Wednesday before Thanksgiving? I think that's actually a brilliant idea, as long as they give them a bye the weekend before. I think a Saturday to Wednesday turnaround would suck. I know the NFL does Sunday to Thursday, but a lot of those Thursday games are bad. A lot of the players complain. Put a bye in front of it, play on Wednesday, and literally everybody can fly home on Thursday. You get from California, Texas, whatever. You can get on a plane and go home, unless you're in the conference title game, I guess.
Right.
But you could go home. Hey, we'll figure out the bowl game in 2 weeks. Everybody go home.
Well, they could drop you off at the charter Wednesday night.
That they could. Yeah.
Just have, just several places.
And all these players. This is so old school, me thinking that players would be flying commercial. They got their NIL money onto their charter jets.
I once had that, spent 14 hours in the Dallas airport. The Utes played Texas in basketball on the 30th of December. And 31st, we got out of Austin on time, got to Dallas, and there was a work stoppage with the pilots, and the snow came in, and literally 14 hours, and we were on the plane, and in those days I was a beat writer, so I'd get upgraded all the time, and if I wanted, I could have just gotten as slosh as I possibly wanted, because they sit you in first class, and we sat there for like 2 hours.
And they bring you free booze?
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, well.
I did decline the alcohol.
So you're just sitting on the plane doing nothing?
Yeah, and then they time out, and we had to get on, and they had no more planes.
They unloaded you off the plane?
Oh, multiple times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That I could handle. I don't want to sit in the steel tube for very long.
Yeah.
I got the whole claustrophobia.
Oh, I understood. But we weren't hadn't pulled out. We were waiting for a crew.
Yeah.
And the crew didn't come because there was a work stoppage too. And finally, there was, and because of Delta being the hub here, there were only a few people that had Salt Lake City as their final destination. So finally at about 2 a.m, they had a flight going to Vegas, and they told if you were only going to Salt Lake and getting off, you can get on that plane. And so the plane diverted. We went to Vegas, dropped them off, or maybe we went here first. I don't remember.
Well, whatever got you home.
Yeah. And my wife literally came and picked me up like 4:30 in the morning, which then would have been New Year's Day morning. So
brutal.
Yeah, I know.
Brutal. You know how you get offered the vouchers if you get off the plane when it's overbooked? That doesn't seem to happen as much as it used to.
It still happens.
It still happens, but not as much.
I've done it.
Yeah. I did it one time, and it forced me into a 7 or 8 hour wait in Dallas. And I remember thinking, okay, I did it. And I got quite a bit. I wasn't going to do it. They offered $250. I think it got up to like $500.
Oh, you can bid.
I finally figured, all right, $500. I'll volunteer.
But you never take their first offer.
I didn't.
But you can literally bid yourself.
And just say, if he goes to this number, then I'll do it.
Yeah, if you get it up to 500, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You can bid. I've done that.
Okay.
So expert travelers have told me to do that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I just did it the one time, and that was a long day. I mean, I think I read everything there was to read in the Dallas airport.
Oh.
I read every magazine, every newspaper. I was traveling by myself. I was with a team, and the team, and it was sort of like a few media people, and they went on. It was when I was in Santa Barbara. So...
Yeah, I had a great opportunity once flying. I took my family down to California.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was for a vacation. I don't think it was for work. So it was the four of us. And so we're on Delta, and they're offering like $500 a person to take the next flight, which literally is an hour and a half. But you could only do it if Salt Lake was your final destination. So we quickly did it. I ran up there. Yeah, we got 4. And by the time they do the paperwork, blah, 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 the next flight's boarding.
Nice. And you got how much?
Like $500 apiece.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was lucrative.
Yeah, we took the family and my mother back to Jersey for this.
$2,000 in airline vouchers. Very well played.
Yeah.
So we digress a little bit here because there just isn't that much to say about this game, is there? I mean, Utah's going to dominate Kansas.
I think Kansas can put a scare into Utah.
By throwing the ball? Because Utah's not going to let them run it, right?
Well, I think their quarterback is elusive.
Mm-hmm.
And so he can create something. He's got the 2 state of Kansas quarterbacks.
Can both run.
Yeah.
Yep.
Avery Johnson being one and Daniels being the other at Kansas. And both of these teams, in my mind, have had disappointing seasons. I thought they had the chance, didn't know it, but I thought they had the chance to be better than what they've shown.
8 wins. Maybe 9.
Yeah. And with that in mind, because it hasn't been what you had hoped for, wanted, and all that type of stuff, why not then at home beat a top team in the conference who's having an outstanding season? And clearly the Utes are having an outstanding season. Yeah, so they're both Kansas State and Kansas 5-6.
Right.
Now K-State is 4-4. KU is 3-5. So you have a difference as far as the league, but the overall records are the same, and I had them higher.
Well, K-State much higher. Kansas a win or 2 higher. They have been good at home. You know, they're 4-2 at home. And now that includes a gimme money game. So they beat Fresno at home pretty solidly to open the season. West Virginia is terrible. They played West Virginia in September when West Virginia was terrible. West Virginia's been getting better, but in September they, new coach, they were still trying to get it together. They played a real tough game with Cincinnati. Your point of putting a scare in them. Cincinnati won there, but it was 37-34. Sounds like a pretty wild game.
I watched that game,
and they lost to K-State at home badly, 42-17.
Right.
And they thumped Oklahoma State.
But I don't think there'll be much of an atmosphere.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
it's holiday weekend.
Thanksgiving on a holiday weekend.
Kids go. They've already transferred, as they normally do, to basketball because that's their big sport.
Mm-hmm.
And so I certainly expect Utah to win, but I expect them to have a tougher time than I expect BYU.
Yeah, I can see that. BYU's at home.
I know.
Yeah. But
I think Kansas is better.
For their
than,
5 wins, they haven't beaten anyone.
Kansas is better than
close.
UCF, is
right.
what I'm getting at.
Well, Kansas, I think, is they're not who we expect them to be, but it looks like they're largely who they're supposed to be. I mean, the teams they lost to, Missouri, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Kansas State, Arizona, Iowa State. Everybody's going to win 8 games in that group except K-State.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the arc of the program.
Well, the arc of the program is
talking about
they
just
were
this year.
Terrible. So at least they've gotten to mediocre, that 5, 6, 7 win area. I mean, they're on 5 now. We'll see if they get to 6. I don't think they will, but if they do, it gives them a chance to win a bowl game and get to 7. But 5, 6, 7 puts you at mediocre. They're beating bottom feeders: Oklahoma State, UCF, West Virginia, Wagner, and Fresno in the non-conference. And all the teams that are in the 8-win and above territory, they lost to.
Yeah, Fresno's a decent win.
They are.
I just thought the program with Leipold coming in and being a builder. I had seen some progression. I thought it would be in a better spot this year.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It is not. But with an experienced quarterback and the fact it was trending up, I mean, the good news is they're now in a place where a 5-7 season is a disappointment, because they used to be in a place where it was just try to avoid 10 losses.
Yeah, but that was a long.
It's been a while now. I know.
So to me, it's been this is a disappointing season, and they do have a rallying cry to try to beat a top team.
They're another team that's mediocre defending the run, which opens up the possibility or the probability of another big day for the Utes on the ground.
Well, they have to.
Yeah.
That's a requirement for them to win. And if you're good at something, you're probably going to be continuing to be good. If you're going to win, you're going to be good at it. I don't think there's any other way for them to win without being good at it. And every time they've won, they've been good at it. And I expect this will continue. And then I have no idea who they're going to play in a bowl game, but I expect that to be the same situation. And they will continue to be good at it, and they'll be good at it next year too.
Well, at least the mystery next year is they've got to build on an entirely new offensive line. So at least at the start of the year, that will put some mystery into it.
Right,
now,
and there's probably 2 or 3 guys on that offensive line next year who are not on the team this year.
Right. I would think that is the case.
Because they've been doing that defensively. That'll be interesting, because if you look at the transfers, they have not been transfer heavy, obviously. They have a lot of continuity in the program, relatively. For them, maybe some years they have, but compared to some other programs, no. But most of the transfers have either been defensively or the skilled positions. Now, on offense I'm talking about, now you're going to have to rebuild the offensive line. How do you approach that? And this offensive line has, by and large, stayed healthy this year, too.
Another excellent point, yes.
And they've been fortunate in that way. Spencer Fano got hurt, but then I understand he came back.
He come back in.
So that would lead you to believe he'll play this game. Wouldn't be surprised if this is his last game, if he wants to opt out of the bowl, which seems to be far more acceptable than it used to be. I don't see why he would find a need to play in that particular bowl game. When he's going to be a first-round draft choice. You simply cannot afford any form of injury. You are this close to millions.
I would also say that from the coaching staff's perspective, how many backups do you need? How good are your current backups? How many can they step in?
I don't know that.
Do you need them to transfer out?
They haven't played that much.
100% on all of that. I would think the coaches would want all these questions.
Yeah.
So Fano opting out of a game so you get one game to see what you got. And it's only one game, but it's more info than they have. Because
I think Loma would opt out too, because he's projected to be a first-round draft choice. Yeah. And I don't know about the others. But it'll be interesting to see if they hit the portal, because what they've been able to do, and Kyle has talked about this, Blake Cotton and the defensive secondary, that they've been hitting the portal in the manner you used to hear about junior college guys. Junior college guys, unless they had 3 to play 2, the whole idea was for them to be immediately available to play, or don't recruit them in the first place. And so now with some obviously openings along the offensive line, I'm wondering if they'll do that and go along that direction. If I'm going to get paid and Utah wants me as an offensive lineman, I'm going to look heavily at them, because they know how to put guys in the NFL from that offensive line. That's a fact. They're going to put minimum 2 this year. We'll see if they put more. Wouldn't surprise me if they put more. And so they probably can get some guys to where it's a rebuild, but it's not a total start from scratch in 26.
So that would be useful for the bowl game. But first things first, go destroy Kansas. It was fun to win the way they won, but I think it would really be good to go out here in the 12th game with a 20-point win.
I don't see any reason why. I do think Kansas should be able to put the ball in the end zone a couple of times.
So 42-20.
Yeah, the offense has been so prolific, man.
Yep, they're 40 points a game.
And as I said all week, it was overlooked what the offense needed to do. I mean, the defense gets a stop on that next to last possession. Obviously, got the stop at the last possession, but Kansas State was up against the clock with, they were pressured, so they probably weren't going to get all the way down the field anyway. But the other time, the next to last possession, when if they get a couple of first downs, they really put Utah in a difficult situation. Well, they don't. They go 3 and out and punt. But then we just overlooked the fact that Utah's offense went right down the field.
Yep.
And virtually with ease. And that gets overlooked. That, under the circumstances, I can argue that was the best offensive performance in the entire season, because there was no need for the defense of the other side say, forget it. Like, you can make the excuse with the Devils. It was raining. It was miserable. We don't have our quarterback. We got no chance here. Well, that wasn't the case with Kansas State. The weather was fine. You had the lead. You had the lead late in the game, and the offense for the Utes still went down and put it on them. You have to really credit them, and I think that somehow they're getting overlooked in that particular performance. But when we step back and evaluate the 25 season, I think the explosiveness of the offense is going to be a huge story, and Kyle was asked about it on Monday, and he gave Jason Beck an A+. Now, I don't know what an A+ feels like, but that's about the highest you can get.
Utah, number 2 in the conference, number 6 in the nation, 42 points a game.
Yeah.
Those are big, big numbers.
Right.
Texas Tech, obviously, number 1 in the conference.
Yeah.
But really not much more. I mean, 42.6. So
no, those two have been the whole season.
That's right, yeah. Yeah. Indiana and Tennessee also having big seasons. North Texas is number 1 at 46 points a game. And still with a chance to be the G5 team that gets into the playoff. All right, DJ and PK, there you go, Ute fans. Kickoff coming up today, Utah and Kansas, a Friday game to wrap things up for the Utes. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The Utah Jazz are back in action tonight. PK, are you ready?
For Jazz basketball? Especially after they've had 4 days off?
They haven't played since the game at Golden State. And they only played half a game there. I'm
glad they have off, and they give them this time off because it's the holiday, and I'd much rather have them have 4 days off now than in January or February.
Yeah, when we got nothing going on. Yeah,
not as much.
We got holiday, and we got football, and you get out there in February or March, and it gets a little thin.
Right.
Jazz and the Kings tonight, and the Jazz have lost 4 in a row. And PK, this game and the Brooklyn game that's coming up Thursday, where Brooklyn will be in town, are the only 2 games. Maybe they could win. When you play a team twice back-to-back, you often split. But one of the better teams in the league, Houston, is playing one of the worst teams in the league, the Jazz. That's when he gets swept. So I'm thinking there's really only a couple of good opportunities to win between now and the first of the year. And although most Jazz fans want them to lose, a 15 or 20 game losing streak is brutal to go through. But they're sitting at 4. I think the heat is on to win tonight and to beat Brooklyn on the 4th. I'm looking at the rest of the schedule. You just want to go with your gut instinct here?
Oh, I think on the 7th they can get OKC.
Why do you think that? After watching OKC,
OKC going to win 80 games this year or what?
Apparently. Their schedule has been really easy, and I think they're good.
Yeah, but they're playing without Cody's brother, who's really good. Didn't he make the All-Star team last year?
They are. They've mostly played
the wrist surgery recuperating from?
They've mostly played teams that are going to miss the playoffs so far.
Okay.
The schedule will toughen up.
But
to your point, they're really good, and they're not going to lose.
I'm done with buts on OKC.
They're not going to lose a lot of games. Yeah. I also don't think that, they're going to win 95% of their games this year.
Maybe if they wanted to.
As for your Utah Jazz, you got Sacramento tonight, then you got Houston twice on Sunday and Monday.
I think they lose both of those.
Okay. And then Thursday against Brooklyn, that's obviously a winnable game in Brooklyn to start the road trip.
But that's what Brooklyn thinks, too.
They do. Friday, they go cross town, go over to MSG and play the Knicks.
That's a brutal trip.
Yeah, they just fly back to New York, play 2 games, and fly back home.
No, but I mean going from Brooklyn to New York.
Oh, from Brooklyn to New York. I thought you meant they fly from Utah to New York, play 2 games, and then fly back to Utah.
You got to go over a bridge.
Yeah, that's true. Which one? Brooklyn? Manhattan?
I think it's the Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah,
Okay.
You got the Hudson and then you got the East River there. So the Manhattan thing is kind of like on an island.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you got to go over there.
I just didn't know which bridge. There's multiple bridges there.
Oh yeah,
It's either the Brooklyn Bridge or the Manhattan Bridge.
George Washington Bridge.
Washington
to get into the city from Jersey.
Jersey's on the other
been
side.
on that bridge a million times. The others not as much, but that should be that's an opportunity to get that thing to get a nice win there, and really for this team, any win is nice. The Knicks, I think the Knicks are overrated this year.
Agreed. Coaching change has changed everything. A couple changes to the roster, and everything went right last year. Everything went right, and they peaked. That was the best version of the Knicks. But I still think the Jazz lose that game back to back.
I would probably go along that way.
Then
it wouldn't shock me if they got both.
They have the Thunder at home. They have a couple games in here we don't know. There's a week in the schedule where the teams that don't make it to the NBA Cup quarterfinals, they'll put out some games there.
The Lakers, man, play them 3 times real quick.
I know. The Magic at home.
I think the Magic are starting to come around.
At Denver on the 22nd.
I think the Denver Nuggets are starting to come around.
These last 5 years. The home to Memphis.
Memphis is winnable.
Home to Detroit.
Detroit playing extremely well.
At San Antonio.
Well, is Big Vic back?
They've been out there. Their 1, 2, and 4 picks. Although they've won some games without those 3 guys.
Yeah.
Harper's been out. They've missed him for a while. They've missed Castle for a while. Obviously, Wembayama. The Celtics on December 30th, and then the Clippers on New Year's night, January 1st.
Clippers got to get some payback. They got embarrassed in Game 1.
Right, and that will be the first of a 4-game road trip with the
Clippers. It's so hard to predict at the NBA level because you never know who's available and who isn't.
And that would be their hope to win some of those games. That month of December looks really difficult. So
right, but you're assuming all the Jazz guys are there.
I am. Beat the Kings tonight.
You don't know that.
Beat Brooklyn, and other than that.
All of a sudden, Markin has turned into an Iron Man.
Well, that's because his problems weren't physical. They're in the front office. We need him to sit.
Well, they might need him to sit this year.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. That'll do it for us. We are out of here an hour early today because the Ute pregame show is coming up next. The Utes will kick off at 10, and then the Aggies kick off at 2 o'clock. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.